The Harrington mansion was a world of its own: polished marble floors, towering crystal chandeliers, fountains that sang in the gardens, and a silence so heavy it carried power. It was the home of Richard Harrington, one of America's wealthiest steel magnates, a man feared and respected in equal measure. But behind the shining glass walls of the estate, darkness brewed. Sophia Harrington, his wife of 12 years, was a woman who seemed to have everything. At 40, she was still stunning, with sharp cheekbones, perfectly styled blonde hair, and the kind of poise that commanded any room she entered. Diamonds glittered around her throat, emeralds sparkled on her fingers, and luxury seemed woven into the very fabric of her being. And yet, none of it silenced the storm inside her. Because lately, Richard's eyes had begun to wander. Not toward glamorous socialites, not toward models or actresses, but toward someone who should have been invisible in a house like this, a maid. Her name was Elena, 24, olive-skinned, dark-haired, soft-spoken. She was the daughter of immigrants, quiet and hard-working, the kind of servant who blended into the background while the world spun around her. But Sophia noticed her. She noticed how Richard sometimes lingered when giving her instructions, how his usually stern tone softened when he asked her questions, how his gaze followed her just a fraction longer than it should. To Sophia, it was unbearable. The seeds of jealousy. At first, she tried to ignore it. She told herself she was imagining things. That Richard, a man of stature and refinement, could never lower himself to look at a maid. But the thought burrowed into her mind like a worm. She began watching Elena. The girl's simple black and white uniform only seemed to highlight her natural grace. Her modesty, her humility, it was infuriating. Sophia, with all her jewels and gowns, felt overshadowed by a girl who owned nothing but her dignity. Each passing day fanned the flames of Sophia's insecurity. Every time Richard asked Elena to fetch something, Sophia's heart clenched. Every time Elena replied with her soft, "Yes, sir," Sophia wanted to scream. Until one afternoon, when jealousy finally consumed her. The scene in the dining hall. The sun filtered through the stained glass windows of the grand dining hall, casting colorful patterns on the long mahogany table. Elena stood at one end, polishing silverware with quiet concentration. The chandeliers above glimmered, scattering fragments of light across her bowed head. Sophia entered, her heels clicking sharply against the marble. She didn't greet Elena. Instead, she circled the room like a predator stalking prey. "Comfortable, aren't you?" she said suddenly. Elena looked up, startled. "Mrs. Harrington, I was just finishing the silver. Don't play dumb with me." Sophia's voice was sharp enough to cut glass. "Do you think I don't see it? The way you look at him. The way he looks at you." Elena's eyes widened in horror. "No, ma'am, I swear. I have never." "Liar," Sophia hissed, slamming her palm against the table. The sound echoed like a gunshot. "You think you can crawl into my home, my marriage, and steal what's mine?" Tears welled in Elena's eyes. "Please, Mrs. Harrington, I respect you. I respect Mr. Harrington. I would never." But Sophia was beyond reason. Rage blinded her. In a sudden, violent motion, she lunged forward, seizing Elena by the collar of her uniform. The young maid gasped, trying to step back, but Sophia's grip was merciless. With a savage yank, Sophia tore downward, the sound of ripping fabric shattering the stillness. The black maid's uniform split open. Elena cried out, clutching at the torn fabric, her face burning with shame. And at that exact moment, the doors opened. The husband's entrance. Richard Harrington stepped into the dining hall. Towering, broad-shouldered, his presence was like thunder rolling across the sky. His eyes locked instantly on the scene, his wife, her hands still clutching torn fabric, and Elena, trembling, half-exposed, humiliated on the floor. Gasps filled the room as several staff members, who had been arranging flowers nearby, froze in horror. One maid dropped a vase, and it shattered into pieces across the marble floor. Richard's voice was a roar. "What in God's name is happening here?" Sophia whirled toward him, her chest heaving. "I caught her. She's been seducing you, Richard. This girl, this maid, she's been trying to steal you away from me." Elena fell to her knees, sobbing, her hands clutching the shredded uniform. "No, sir, please. I swear on my life, I never." Richard's face darkened, his jaw tight as steel. He stepped forward, his voice low and dangerous. "Sophia, have you lost your mind? She is my rival." Sophia screamed, desperation dripping from her words. "Don't deny it. I see how you look at her. I won't be made a fool. The silence that followed was suffocating. The staff stood frozen, terrified to move. And then, in a move that stunned everyone, Richard walked past his wife and knelt beside Elena. He shrugged off his tailored jacket and draped it over the young maid's shoulders, shielding her. The room filled with gasps. Sophia's face went white. You are safe, Elena, Richard said firmly. His tone softened only for her. Go to your quarters. You've done nothing wrong. Elena, trembling, nodded through her tears and fled the room. Sophia's world collapsed in that instant. The fall of Sophia. You protect her. Sophia's voice was shrill, broken. After all these years, after everything I've given you, you choose her over me. Richard turned to face her, his eyes colder than she had ever seen. I'm not protecting her, Sophia. I'm protecting what little humanity is left in this house after your madness. She staggered backward, shaking her head. Madness? You call me mad because I love you? Because I won't let some servant take you away? This isn't love, Richard snapped. This is obsession, cruelty, humiliation. His voice dropped to a dangerous growl. And I will not tolerate it in my house. Sophia's eyes filled with tears. Richard, please, I did it for us. Enough. His voice thundered. The chandeliers seemed to tremble. From this day forward, things will change. The aftermath. Within hours, the mansion transformed. Richard summoned the lawyers. The staff whispered nervously in the corridors. Papers were signed, accounts were frozen, and the walls seemed to close in around Sophia. Her friends from high society stopped calling. Rumors spread like wildfire. That Sophia Harrington had gone mad, that she had attacked her maid out of jealousy, that Richard himself had cast her out. And then came the final blow. Richard stood before her in the study, his face carved from stone. You will leave this house, Sophia. Tonight. Her blood turned cold. You can't mean that. I can. And I do. His tone was merciless. Your jealousy destroyed whatever was left between us. You shamed me, you shamed this family, and you destroyed an innocent girl's dignity. I will not live another day with you under this roof. Sophia's knees buckled. She collapsed into a chair, her diamonds clinking like broken glass. Please, Richard, don't do this. Don't throw me away. I'll change. I'll be better. Richard's eyes held no mercy. You had your chance. The tragic end. That night, Sophia left the mansion. Not in her Rolls Royce, not with her jewels and gowns, but in silence. The staff watched as she walked out the grand doors with nothing but a single suitcase. Elena remained in the house, still shaken, but safe. Richard never touched her, never crossed a line. But the image of him placing his jacket on her shoulders haunted Sophia's mind like a ghost. From her penthouse exile, stripped of power and wealth, Sophia watched as the world moved on without her. Richard's empire thrived. The mansion gleamed as always. Elena continued her quiet service. And Sophia became a whisper. A cautionary tale. The millionaire's wife who had everything, and lost it all because of jealousy. Her diamonds gathered dust in the vaults of lawyers. Her name disappeared from society's lips. Her reflection in the mirror showed not a queen, but a broken woman who had torn apart more than just a maid's uniform. She had torn apart her own life.